Hey everyone, welcome to our global broadcast session on boosting digital resilience, leveraging customer success. I'm here today with two of my guests, Ed Hubbard, who is the Director of Site Reliability Engineering and Observability at Travelport. Welcome,
Yep.
Ed.
Thank you.
And welcome Ines Thornburg, who is VP of Customer Success. I am Seema Haji. I lead our customer lifecycle marketing function here at Splunk, and my friend and colleague Ines and I are deeply vested in customer success. We're super excited to come to you from Conf 25 with Ed to talk a little bit about how CS has helped Travelport, get to their observability implementation as it stands today. So Ed, I'd love to kind of kick things off with understanding where Travelport came from.
Okay.
Tell the audience and share some of the challenges the business was facing, the considerations in looking at Splunk, and why you went with Splunk.
Sure. Why'd we go with Splunk? We were using tools for our alerting and monitoring that were honestly from a mainframe perspective. We had come out of being a solely mainframe company. We're doing more server-based things and ultimately getting into cloud-based, cloud-native applications. And we needed to get out of that legacy tool set and into something that really fit what our business needs were at that point in time. And so Splunk ticked all the boxes, I guess you could say. So we spent a pretty fair amount of time migrating off of our legacy tool set onto, we use Splunk Core, and we use the ITSI product to do all of our event aggregation and correlation. There were a lot of them at first. We figured that out, and then we're also an observability client now as well. So
that's amazing. We like when we tick boxes here at Splunk, right, Ines? So you're currently Travelport's using ITSI. You said. What observability offerings from Splunk are you using today?
Definitely have Splunk Core, using that for all logging and aggregation of data from a lot of different sources, application logs, platform logs. We ingest alerts and clearing events from a lot of other sources as well. We use ITSI to really correlate, aggregate those, and more importantly, correlate those. Try to understand, what's important and what's not. And then we've, in the last couple of years, moved into the Splunk observability, the Ollie package, I guess, if you will, with some of our cloud-native applications as well. And so, kind of using, using those core Splunk products to get all that stuff together, if you will.
And we see that consistently with a lot of our customers in their observability solutions. It's a combination of on-premises as well as cloud-native applications. And as just to kind of kick things off, we at Splunk invested just jointly across our teams very heavily in UEM. And for those unfamiliar, UEM stands for the Unified Engagement Model. Can you share a little bit about the the genesis of UEM and principally, like, what are we trying to solve for our customers with UEM?
Yeah, thank you, Seema. And Ed, great to see you at Conf again.
Thank you.
Many years here, and and again, to all the audience members, we're going to have a great Conf here. Hopefully you'll be able to hit the showroom floors, go to sessions, meet with fellow executives, et cetera. So taking a quick step back before I get into UEM, Ed, just listening to you and talking about your organization, our Splunk/Cisco customer experience organization has a very similar charter. It's to make sure that our customers are getting the value out of the technology investments and making sure that we have the right services at the right time for where they are on their journey throughout their life cycle. And so if you think back a few years ago, Splunk was sort of a rocket ship. We were growing very, very rapidly. And with all the best intentions, we were working very closely with our customers, but sometimes not as orchestrated as we could have been. And so we heard that loud and clear through NPS surveys, through conversations, through customer meetings, executive dialogue. And we really deliberately took a pause with how we were working as a go-to-market team and across the business, and really started to think about how do we more effectively work together with our customers, bringing the right resources at the right time, and making sure we had very clear roles and responsibilities for our team members to work very closely with our customers. And as we went through that whole exercise and developed the UEM model, the Unified Engagement Model, we also took the time to think about how do we do things in a more consistent way. So we built out many more playbooks, runbooks, methodologies, and
leveraging that vast database of knowledge.
Yes,
right?
leveraging that collection of data and knowledge over the past 20 years to be able to incorporate that into what we called UEM. So hopefully that. And the best part, the most exciting part is last week we had our sales kickoff for Cisco. And as part of that sales kickoff, we launched an engagement model that takes the best of the Splunk Unified Engagement Model together with the best of the Cisco Unified Engagement Model. And we're going to see that start rolling out so our customers can really start to appreciate that. Yeah, with the Cisco layer model.
And it's amazing to see, how far it's come in 2 years, and the feedback we've been getting from customers like yourself, customers that I just met today on the show floor, is it's helping. Yeah. And I think going back 2 years ago, it was, several well-intentioned Splunkers trying to help customers, see value really quickly, be successful. But it wasn't, consistently landing in the way that we wanted it to. So this has certainly taken, things a long way. Ed, I think in one of our initial conversations, we were digging into the stack and the implementation. And one of the things that really stood out to me was something I hear from customers on a daily basis. When we have customers that, they check all the check marks with Splunk, and they're like, hey, we're investing in the Splunk portfolio. They actually purchase and sign up for a ton of CS offerings, right? Things like education or ODS, which is on-demand services, or technical expertise and assigned experts. But what I hear is, they sign up for it, but a lot of customers don't actually use it. It's sitting there, I see that nod, like it's sitting there, and oftentimes, like, a big part of my team's job is to have them go back to it and say, hey, did you know you have on-demand services? You can pick up the phone and call someone from Splunk if you're stuck. But Travelport was unique because I'm not sure how early in the cycle.
We were not that customer that didn't use our credits, no.
So tell me a little bit about, and share with us, like, how did you start using assigned experts, and what were you dealing with? What were the challenges that made you look at CS?
So you mentioned education credits and admin on demand.
Right.
We use those religiously. They were included in our first contract. We made sure that we purchased.
So you did have it in your first contract.
Did, and we used them maybe too much to some degree. You kind of mentioned lots of well-intentioned areas within Splunk. We kind of found ourselves in a situation where our Splunk stack, we took all the training and we asked a lot of questions and we implemented things the way we thought was best. But 12 months in, we found out we didn't use Splunk best practices, maybe. So we kind of found ourselves in a situation where our stack was not performing well. We were seeing alert storms that we were.
Hold up, I don't mean to interrupt you.
Uh-huh.
Can you define what an alert storm is? Because it's different to different, I think, customers, and I'm just curious for the audience to understand from your perspective.
You mentioned on-prem, thousands of servers that are showing CPU alerts and memory alerts, or you've got response times that are too high on one side of your shop, or error rates are too high here, but you never really know if you've got too many alerts in Alert Storm. You don't really know what's important and what's not. I don't really care if one server in a complex of 500 has a high CPU alert. Right? Now, 50 of them, okay, I probably care. And so we found ourselves in a situation where we had alert storms that were, honestly, it's why we went with Splunk, was to try to get ourselves out of this situation. We hadn't really corrected that problem yet. And so we implemented things in such a way where Splunk couldn't keep up. Our stack was performing poorly. We had tens of thousands of searches that were running very, very efficient searches. Again, we did our job getting our folks trained.
You were using it.
We were, but it didn't function correctly, and so the alert storms were still happening. Our data center had, our service desk had no idea what our customer experience really was. Because we had all these alerts in front of them, their reaction was always, oh wow, the customer experience must be horrible because one server in a complex of 500 was struggling. And
it's hard to kind of pinpoint,
terribly hard.
And get to the heart of it, which is kind of core to observability, right? Is getting to the heart of the problem.
Right. And so we reached out to our Splunk team, and they recommended the Assigned Expert program for us. And so we brought Jenny in, and the Assigned Expert program, you get one technician instead of opening tickets in a different support tech, and they're very good support techs, don't get me wrong, but they don't always know your stack. They don't know how you implemented this or why you did that. Jenny came in and she learned why we did things. She learned how we implemented them and the reasons for that. And so she came in and really helped us redesign how we needed to implement our tens of thousands of searches into far, far fewer searches to help us with those alert storms. Now, we still get them from time to time, but we're getting there. And so the Assigned Expert program, and Jenny specifically, she really came in and helped us undo what we, best intentions, right, what we did incorrectly, and really help us realize the value of what the Splunk products really are.
And I think that's what, just blows me away is just, you heard me say this before, like the wealth of knowledge, right? Like even on something like Splunk Lantern, which is our customer repository of use cases, which all customers have access to.
I probably have a lot in there.
Just kind of like the knowledge, the use cases, how to get kind of started, and that's, Jenny is a star, and I think she was just absolutely valuable. I hear like some of your team members like learn some additional skills in addition to optimizing the stack.
Yeah, not just learning how to do better searches, but when Jenny comes to .conf, she carries hula hoops around with her, and one of our observability engineers learned how to hula hoop with her.
Do we see some hula hooping in the future here in the next couple of days?
Potentially, yeah. We'll have to see how that goes.
And a little karaoke to throw in.
Amazing. Well done, Jenny, if you're listening to this.
Go.
And that's a great experience, and I'm glad that's the intent when we think about CS, thinking about just the hundreds of people getting certified here at Conf with regard to education in Splunk University. That's what we like to hear. And as just coming back to you, just recently as we go through our integration with Cisco, there's a lot of emphasis on taking what we have, which is great, and taking that a step further. So, share with the audience like what's on the horizon with regard to our customer success portfolio, what's to look forward to, especially with, the magical, AI.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, as I'm so happy that the Assigned Expert was an absolute win for you. And as you talked through it, when I joined Splunk about 8 years ago, also, there was a lot of doocracy that we called, where people doing lots of stuff, building that knowledge base for us. But it's a tool, right? And without guidance and coaching and governance, it is a tool that can go very unwieldy very quickly with that enthusiasm that we see from our Splunkers. And so we did offer the Assigned Expert, or we launched that offering a few years ago to bring that expertise. And then we have evolved that now to include what we call the Technical Account Manager, which includes the platform as well as our premium products. And actually at the beginning of this fiscal year, we just iterated that offering to include platform, security, observability. And the intention of this is, again, to bring the right services at the right time, but also really to sit down with executives like yourself, understand your business objectives, your strategic priorities, bring that expertise to help you not only create that implementation roadmap, but also to how do you leverage your on-demand services credits, your education credits, so you're continuously, building that ecosystem around solving for business outcomes. And as I think about Cisco, wow, the power of Cisco that we have ahead of us between the scale, the size, the robust engineering innovation that's happening, integrating our products, the push from leadership to think bigger, to think faster, to leverage AI in ways to help not only our customers become more productive, but our teams.
Speed up the entire process.
Oh my gosh, speeding up that value conversation so that we can help you get to those business outcomes faster. It's super exciting, Seema. And honestly, I think that as we go through Conf over the next 2 days and hear about all the capabilities that are going to be launched, not only with our products, but also our services and how we're using and leveraging AI, it's super exciting.
Yeah, and we have a whole section in the show floor dedicated to AI and customer success. Have you been down there yet?
It's actually the first place I went.
It's impressive.
Great.
Yep.
So for folks that are here at .conf 25, we have an entire section of the pavilion dedicated to customer success, and it's really all about learning, just understanding what tools and resources are available. If you're stuck, there is kind of like a help center to go off and ask your most kind of challenging question to. But my team, my incredible team, we invest, Inez's team, really heavily in bringing this experience to the show floor so that customers here, partners, can actually go off and explore how the investment in helping customers, how deeply we care about that for all of our customers and our partners as well. So Ed, I really appreciate you being here today. I'm not going to keep you because I know you have 2 days of .conf, the breakout sessions to get to, and so thank you for being here.
Well, thank you.
And Ines, thanks for bringing your kind of Splunky color to Conf. I feel like I need to do better next year, but we have a fun 2 days ahead of us with sessions online if you're watching global broadcast, as well as just a tremendous amount of show floor energy at the pavilion. You're not missing out. There are the product keynotes that I would encourage you to check out, along with a curated set of breakout sessions, and we look forward to seeing you here in person at .conf 26. Thanks everyone. Bye.